This is why I believe the Backrooms movie is about to break the internet, and it honestly just might be the most controversial movie in a while. I genuinely think some people are going to absolutely hate what it stands for, what it did, and others, they're gonna be like, hey, that was pretty good. As well as a review on the plot and story, and just the movie as a whole. So let's get right into it, okay? Let me set the scene for you. It's a Thursday night, it's raining, it's pouring outside, the ads are playing, I'm trying to, you know, kick my feet up, and I can't find the button. And when it's all over, I walk out of the theaters feeling inspired. I didn't even say anything. I'm just walking out, the rain's pouring, I'm just nodding my head, just walking to my car, and I'm like, damn. That was pretty good, huh? You know, when I came out of the movie theater, I overheard some people saying, oh, the movie was not that scary. It was not that scary. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? What is you talking about? What are you talking about? I think a lot of people were literally just expecting like some crazy horror movie with a bunch of entities going at you with a bunch of like whatever. Like I completely disagree with that it's not scary enough. I thought it was very scary. I thought it was very good at what it did. Like I said, it built tension. You never were like 100% safe. You never felt good, I guess. You never knew what was gonna happen next. You never knew, like, there was always something coming after you. And like I said, I'm making this the day I watched the film, Thursday. The film doesn't have a grand opening till tomorrow, which is Friday. But I already know, I don't even have to look at any people making videos. I don't have to look at comments. I just know, especially by the reactions of some people, like I said, out the movie theaters. I just know that a lot of people are not gonna like it. And maybe it's because I'm a video nerd, or I'm like the more artistic. I appreciate the more artistic side of the movie, because I think it did that very, very well. The shots that were outside were beautiful, and even the shots inside were beautiful. Honestly, it was one of the most beautiful movies I've ever watched, honestly, when it comes to the visuals and the music. I don't know if I'm glazing, but I cannot think of a movie at the top of my head that has a better soundtrack. I think the Backrooms movie is the best soundtrack ever created. Now, I just might be forgetting something, and you know, I might not have watched everything, but I just mean as a whole, because there is not a single moment where the music is not hitting. And I'm also going to explain in a little why I think there 100% is going to be a sequel, and that was actually the plan the whole way through, is to have a sequel. So look, first things first, I think what's going to happen with the Backrooms is that it's going to explode. Just like I said, it's going to break the internet, and the reason why I say so is because I really believe that the boomers are gonna be on this. And I think the people who might actually not enjoy the Backrooms are the people that were already familiar with it. First of all, the movie is rated R, which just means that, you know, a lot of the younger people are not gonna be able to watch it. I mean, hell, I was barely able to watch it. Like, I would have had to have a parent there. And even someone like myself, who I wasn't super big into the Backrooms, but I knew about some of the King Pictures lore when it comes to Async, Project KV-31, etc. And for me, I really enjoyed what the movie did, but I think a lot of people are not going to enjoy what it did. Now, I will say straight off the bat, I do wish there was more entities. I do wish there was more, I guess, liminal spaces, if that makes sense. I wish there was more levels. I wish there was just more. That's my only critique of the movie. The environment is so unique that it's going to make for just an amazing experience. And what I found very interesting is how each of the characters goes into the Backrooms, but they're all different in the way they interact with it. I just think that this movie, over all the games that have been made, over all the series, over all the wiki pages, whatever, this movie made the Backrooms the most thought-provoking version of it that has ever existed. And that's what it boils down to. I think if you go into it thinking of it as a horror movie, which I know it kind of is, but I didn't go into it thinking that like that. And maybe that's why I enjoyed the movie and other people didn't. So when I think of the Backrooms, I don't think of it as a horror series per se. I think of it as just a mystery. Because I mean, this movie, by the end of it, you're gonna have more questions than you did even going in, which is insane to say about something that's crazy as the Backrooms, but it is so out there that I just think about the movie, and I think about what did I just see? But to run it all down, basically my man Clark, who I was rooting for throughout the entire movie, he's basically a furniture store worker that is struggling. His girl just left him, kicked him out of his own house while he was paying the bills. I mean, how do you get kicked out of your own house and you're the one paying the bills? But Clark goes in with Dr. Mary Klein, his therapist, and they act out this scene like Dr. Mary Klein acts like his girlfriend, and they recap the moment of what happened that night. And by the end of the session, Clark is exploding, showing what he really thinks. He thinks that his girl which left him, he's like, bro, you're a 30-year-old freshman, you're going to law school, you don't have a job, get off your lazy fat ass. You're complaining about me waking you up in the middle of the night. That's like almost word for word, almost. This is why I love going into movies not watching trailers, you don't even know what the plot is about. For example, Fight Club, no idea what Fight Club is about. I mean, I just inferred from the name Fight Club that they were gonna start a club where they fight. Little did I know it would be so much more than that, obviously. But that's what I love. I knew nothing about it, and by the end I was like, what? Same thing with Interstellar. By the end, I had no idea what Interstellar was gonna do. I just knew space. Little did I know it would end up becoming one of my favorite movies of all time. But then yeah, Clark, he is living at his own furniture store. He's just at a random bed, and then he's watching TV, and suddenly the lights start flickering. And then eventually he finds the no clip point inside his store in the basement, and then he no clips inside of the back rooms. And honestly, I thought he played it smart, and I thought it really showed. It wasn't just like some dumb guy. You know how there's like always like dumb people in the horror movies? Like, he checked, am I gonna be able to safely return home if I go over here? Which he was able to do so, and then he continued exploring further into the back rooms. And another cool detail was just, I think one of the first little trap doors he finds has 3 knobs in it. And I think that also insinuates just what the Backrooms is, which what we learned from this movie is basically that the same people are there, but something's wrong with them. The same buildings are there, but something's slightly off. And that's basically what the entire Backrooms is. Every character, every entity, every room, it exists in real life, but it's something else. It's just a bit off every single time. And also, he runs into like this cardboard cutout and it was saying like shalom, assalamu alaikum. And then when it got closer, I literally, the first time I saw it, I thought it was Jesus. Like, I thought the cardboard cutout was supposed to be Jesus. However, you do see the cardboard cutout honestly way more times, which is one of the questions we have during this movie, which what did this cardboard cutout kind of represent? Because I don't really know. But yeah, he goes out. Obviously, after going to the back rooms, he's going to want to talk to someone about it. So he goes to his therapist, but his therapist thinks that he's just drunk, and he gets really mad and just leaves and be like, I'm going to prove you wrong, bitch. Which I understand. I mean, he's pouring his heart out, and she just chalks it up to he has a drinking problem and he's going crazy. But then it turns out Clark had been exploring the back rooms. He had it all mapped out. He had his door. He knew what he was doing, and he was exploring. However, there was one thing he couldn't do. He couldn't go further downwards, which is why he got his 2 employees, Bobby and Kat. Bobby is the boyfriend of Kat. They're a couple, and so they end up going down into the back rooms. And another thing I also loved is throughout the whole movie we get VHS camcorder held footage. And so Clark has Bobby on a rope, and they send him down, and what he finds is a bunch of laundry and just weird stuff. He says that it smells very bad. Before then, he records what seems to be something moving and someone there, which of course makes Bobby spooked, and they pull him up by the rope. And then once he gets back up there, the entity starts pulling him back down, and then the bed behind him ends up hitting them all. And yeah, it's safe to say Bobby got his body smacked. Bobby is dragged across the floor. His blood is everywhere. His girlfriend goes after him. Clark then actually picks up the camcorder. He records what seems to be people in the Christmas tree, multiple entities going at him. Then he ends up like in this place, not really a bathroom, not really a pool, kind of a combination of it. It has water though. And then he hears Kat through the wall. She's saying, yo, can you see me? Can you hear me? At first, I actually thought it was going to be, you know, one of those entities that, I think it's in one of the Backrooms games, or most of the Backrooms games. I think that might be called Skin Stealers, the ones that they change into your friends, making you think it was their friends. At first, that's what I thought it was going to be, because the monster was calling to Clark without, and you couldn't see her. But it turns out that it wasn't. It was actually Kat, and she could see him, but Clark couldn't see her. But then what happens is something very mysterious, which is someone or something ends up picking up Clark's camcorder when he's not looking. And this is one of the many questions I have about this movie. Who was it that picked up his camera? Because it seemed like it was a pretty intelligent being, and Clark does not die right at that point, so it also might not be like a crazy monster unless he was able to escape. But then Dr. Mary Klein, his therapist, goes into the back rooms, kind of trying to save him, seeing what's up. And then this is the part that a lot of people might not like, but for me, I did like it. I just wish that we got a little bit more explanation. What happens is that Clark willingly stays in the back rooms. He doesn't try to find a way out. He's still alive. He goes up to Mary Klein, and they hear noises before he ends up choking her out and tying her up in a chair. And then when tying her up, he's looking at these other entities. He shows that they have no feelings. He stabs them. He shows that you can eat them. Like, the Backrooms wouldn't be the Backrooms without stuff like that happening. But then they have this really amazing scene that that happens multiple times over where they act out the same therapy session, but this time Clark is in full control and he's the one telling her, yo, you gotta act like my girl. And eventually Dr. Mary Klein takes off the wig and she stops the acting and she tells him what she really thinks, which is Clark, he can't change. He is who he is, and the reason his girl left is because he's just whining about everything, and then everything is not his fault. And once he hears that, he goes, it's my fault, everything's my fault. And he ends up crying, and he ends up saying sorry actually, and he unties her. But before he's able to untie her second hand, the entity walks in. And by the entity, I mean like the one that tries to kill us. And what is this entity? Well, it is actually Clark himself. It is the other version of Clark. Like I said, the Backrooms are a kind of copy, but they didn't work all the way. So this entity is a messed up version of Clark that's also a pirate, because in Clark's furniture store commercials, he acts like a pirate. His own entity absolutely destroys him and kills him, drags his body around, and then the therapist has to run away. I mean, this is what I mean when the whole movie was just really had a lot of tension. You didn't know what was gonna happen. It was scary, man. Like, I really disagree. People that say it was not scary, I disagree with that. I think it was very scary. She eventually is able to escape just barely, and then she runs into Async, which, if you know about Async, they're basically the ones that are kind of regulating the Backrooms or kind of researching it. And so at the end of the movie, they're questioning Dr. Mary Klein about what she saw, what happened, and then even the most ominous and eerie part of the movie is probably the ending, where she just asked, what's gonna happen to me? And the guy interviewing her says, it's not my decision, which obviously leaves a lot of questions to be answered. What's gonna happen to her? Is she gonna die? And what are these people going to be doing in the Backrooms? So like I said, I think it's a movie that raises more questions than answers. I think it was a great movie. In my opinion, I would say 8.5 out of 10 might be movie of the year. What the Backrooms does very well is the colors, the atmosphere, the environment, the music, sound effects. We don't know. We have a lot of questions. I also think during the movie I had a revelation. I just thought, you know what? Maybe the Backrooms is not meant to be understood. Maybe it's okay that everything's a mystery. Maybe it's okay that we don't know anything. Maybe we'll never know, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the Backrooms are not meant to be understood. But yeah, I think Backrooms is about to break the internet because of how controversial it's gonna be. In my opinion, I thought it was great. And like I said, I walked out of the movie feeling inspired. If anyone can do anything, anyone can do anything. And yeah, I recommend everyone go watch the movie, see what you think of it, and have a great day. Let's go.